Erik Linask here in the TMC newsroom at Interop in Las Vegas. And this morning, second day of the show, I'm here talking with Gary Oliverio from Cradlepoint Technology. Gary, good morning. Thank you for joining me.
Thanks, Eric. Appreciate your time this morning.
So it's certainly a different time now than even say 3 or 4 or 5 years ago. Everything is about connectivity, certainly in the consumer market, but even more importantly in the business space. And that's something that Cradlepoint is obviously very heavily involved in. Tell me a little bit about what Cradlepoint's doing.
That's right. Cradlepoint has really worked on delivering connectivity to the 3G, 4G networks and driving that into the business environment. We essentially allow you to overlay these networks into business in a number of different applications. One might be for a primary use, for a remotely deployed asset, whether it's a machine-to-machine type of device or even kiosks, ATM machines, that sort of thing. We also provide solutions for the offices. For a branch office, we provide connectivity that actually plug into your existing Cisco, Juniper firewall and provide connectivity as a backup for an existing enterprise, a large branch office. And then we also have solutions that are more focused on smaller offices that provide bandwidth on demand. We support load balancing and bandwidth injection and failover. So essentially you can take your standard office connectivity and up your availability. Business DSL, for example, 99.5% available. Well, that means 0.5% of the time it's offline. And 0.5% of 720 hours in a month, that's 3.5 hours of outage. You wouldn't want your desktop application to not be available for that period of time. So with all of the noise here about moving to cloud computing, which is a great innovation that's allowing people to have greater availability and more flexibility, well, 3.5 hours of downtime for your application where you're depending on connection is a non-starter. So we've actually delivered solutions that bridge that gap, that take you from 2 nines to 4 nines of availability. If you don't mind, I'll show you one product that we have here. This is our flagship product we just released recently. This is our MBR 1400, and this is similar to solutions that maybe you've seen in the past. It's a gigabit router with 802.11n, 3x3 MIMO capability, and we also have a set of ports on the side for allowing you to put in any air card. So this device boasts availability of or compatibility with over 200 different shipping air cards worldwide. So Sprint, Verizon, AT&T, T-Mobile, any of the networks domestically as well as others worldwide. We have drivers built in that work with Express or USB cards. And we also have a security cap that allow you to cover this so that your modem won't walk off. We've taken that to the next level. A lot of these air cards are not built for being available and running 24/7, which is critical for mission critical business. They're used to being pulled out of your laptop, plugged back in, they restart. We've built in some software to recognize that and keep those alive and keep them running and connected. We've also done one step further. We've taken some of the high integrity embedded modules that the air card companies supply into laptops. We fashioned it into that same security cap, and allows us to use through a USB connection, snap that together, and we get a full CPE solution that can run as a wireless primary. This is an EVDO cap, so this can be configured to work on either the Sprint or Verizon network, and with a full 802.11n router, gigabit ports and that sort of thing. The advantage of this is it's designed to run 24/7. We have added gain, so this doesn't have to necessarily be placed close to a window in a cement or steel building. Your coverage area is expanded, and we have close proximity RF coherency. So basically, we work very hard to make sure that these devices can cooperate with the cellular networks in close proximity to Wi-Fi radios. So we really worked on the integration of these packages, the network technology to give absolute best performance in a business environment.
So is the idea to leverage the cellular net, so the 3 and 4G networks as a backup to wired networking, or is it really to provide wireless as the primary means of connectivity for those businesses?
These solutions really can span all of those. What matters is what data plan do you have set up associated with it, and we're working with the operators to make sure that the data plans are simple, coherent, and best fit for the task. There's a lot of instances where, say, a point of sale terminal They just need, a 3G bandwidth is sufficient for what they do. It's much better than dial-up, and it's more available. That works perfect for them as a primary. They don't need a huge amount of bandwidth, but they need that 4 nines or more of availability, which the cellular providers give them. So that works as a primary, but it doesn't necessarily have some of the latency requirements that other applications in business have. But if you look at, as people move to the cloud, business DSL or business cable doesn't quite get there, doesn't save you in case of an emergency, and there's outages are routine. So combining a backup plan with DSL still keep you at a place where you're south of a T1 line with a much better availability SLA, or you kind of roll your own SLA with that. Let me tell you a little bit more about one other application that's applicable here, and that is, as a lot of organizations max out their WAN, max out their bandwidth for their facility, taking another step in terms of adding a huge amount of bandwidth can be a pretty painful WAN spend, a monthly spend. There may be somebody in the organization that wants to do something like add video conferencing, or they want to, they're recognizing that business is real critical for this group. They need to be running 24/7, and somebody over in a development shop is uploading huge development files, and it's ending up conflicting with the available bandwidth, and everybody's complaining about bandwidth. We provide this as a solution that can help inject bandwidth where you need it, for the solution that needs it, or for the offending solution like video conferencing. We can actually steer the video conferencing bits over a 4G network, so you get the throughput, but you don't necessarily pay the penalty of a huge SLA, a huge spend for a T1 flavored bits. So load balancing, failover, and wireless primary, all of these can be supported by a number of different models that we have.
Now you've got multiple USB ports on that. What happens if, why do I want to plug in 2 or 3 different modems?
In the case where you have load balancing, you could actually plug in an LTE and a WiMAX card, have them both running concurrently, and you can multiply your bandwidth. So we load balance and allow you to have multiple WANs. That's something that's of great value to some organizations. Others just want, for IP coherency, a lot of times the IP addressing matters to how applications run. So we can actually also run in failover mode where you have one primary, even as an air card as a primary, and then fail over to a secondary. So with the modem cap here, we actually have a cavity, so you can actually add 2 networks in there at the same time. So there's other approaches where you can leverage multiple WANs in one box.
So I imagine there's a lot of small businesses out there who are already very interested in Cradlepoint. Where can they go to get the products?
We've actually we've started building up a VAR channel. We have over 500 VARs nationwide that have signed up. If you come to our website, we can direct you to a local VAR that can help you, that's been trained. And also to the VAR community, we're expanding our footprint as people start recognizing the added value of overlaying 3G and 4G networks into the WAN environment. We see a lot of people, this is a complementary product. It's not a rip and replace sort of solution. There's ways that we work with existing infrastructure in the LAN environment so that we actually augment the existing stuff, the existing products. So there's a lot of people in the VAR community that are very interested in becoming part of our program, and we have a comprehensive VAR partner program with 3 levels, added discounts, upfront discounts for participants, so that we can help train and get people part of the Cradlepoint distribution team.
Excellent. We're talking here in the TMC newsroom at Interop in Las Vegas with Gary Oliverio from Cradlepoint Technology. Gary, thanks so much for joining me.
Thanks, Eric. Appreciate it.